We get a lot of premium customers to buy from our offline store, but when it comes to our website, our average order values are much lower.
We had to go online to go global.
Okay.
That's the first thing.
Interesting.
Online helps you identify newer store locations.
Yes.
Going forward.
From a retail first brand to actually launching the website online and to doing cross-border. One challenge which I hear when I talk to owners of many premium brands is this. They tell me, Anshuk, we get a lot of premium customers to buy from our offline store, but when it comes to our website, our average order values are much lower. How do we get premium customers to buy from our website? With Meta's Omnichannel capabilities and offline conversion API, for the first time, this is becoming possible. To unpack this, I couldn't have asked for a better lineup of speakers than leaders from Meta and leaders of some of the fastest growing retail brands in India. Welcome to the AdYogi Meta Omnichannel podcast. Joining me today is Koustubh, CBO of Aza Fashions. Aza, as you may know, houses some of the best luxury brands in India under one roof. I've had the fortune to interact with Koustubh over the last 12 months. We have been working with Aza on driving profitability for them on their brand website using our proprietary tech solution, Big Atom. But at the same time, we've also been working with Aza on driving omni-channel success for them. And I find Koustubh as one of the industry experts thinking about Omni problem and how can Meta help in solving Omni for them. Koustubh, welcome to OmniTalks with AdYogi.
Hey, hi Anshuk. Looking forward, and thank you for inviting me to this podcast.
Yes, absolutely. So Koustubh, Aza has carved out a niche in the space, and it houses today some of the very good premium luxury brands under one roof.
Right.
Can you tell us a little bit about how has the journey of Aza been, and what has been the role you have played in the journey of Aza?
So Aza, as you would have known, we started our journey in 2005.
Yes.
It was founded by Dr. Alka Nishar. And it started with one single store in Delhi.
Yes.
And over the last 20 years, so we are actually celebrating 20 years of Aza right now, this year.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah. It's been quite a journey. And we started from 2005 in Delhi and moved to about 6 stores across multiple cities in a span of 10 years.
Okay.
So if I look at the journey in interval of 10 years, so 2005 to 2015, 16 again is an important milestone for us because that's when we started online.
Okay. Yes.
Because India was sort of also going through the first wave of digitization, a lot of brands coming online. That also gave us access to go international 2016, 17. And over a period of time, those cross-border transactions became easier and easier.
Okay.
And Aza's market presence in global Indian diaspora countries such as US, UK, Canada, Australia kind of increased over a large period of time. And cut to today, which is 2025, we are pretty well diversified in terms of channel, whether it's within the country and also in terms of geography outside at various India and South Asia community locations. And we have also now started this year the lab-grown diamond brand, which is Araya.
Okay, very interesting.
So that's another sort of business within the overall setup.
Okay.
So that's been an interesting journey. I think the overall ethos of the brand or the sort of inspiration behind the brand was to make sure that Indian craftsmanship or ethnic craftsmanship, which is very, very indigenous in nature, get a global stage to sort of, show its true metal and sort of reach a wide global audience.
Yes.
So that's something that we have been able to achieve over the course of the last 20 years and look forward to doing so going ahead, right? With a customer-first approach and sort of luxury designer approach, right, which is minimal, non-intrusive, and customer-friendly. That's largely been the ethos for Aza over the last 20-odd years.
Yes.
And I myself have been part of it for close to a year now. At Aza. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So from a retail first brand to actually launching the website online and to doing cross border, I think Aza has definitely ventured into multiple channels of growth. How do you see the balance between retail and online, and how important is retail still for Aza as a brand? What sort of a growth do you see across the 2 or 3 channels of Aza?
No, that's a great question. I think, first of all, it's back in 2015-16 when online kind of kicked off, right?
Yes.
And it kind of kicked off because of two reasons. Because the retail footprint, which was sort of the product market fit for this particular offering, right?
Yes.
From 2005 in Delhi through to Mumbai, Calcutta, Surat, Ahmedabad, now Hyderabad, some of these cities.
Yes.
What we saw is that there's great sort of customer love in terms of the sort of proposition of having so many designers under one roof. The opportunity to walk in and experience luxury in a manner which was not very prevalent at that time. If you step back from 10 years from now, it wasn't sort of as accessible even as today.
Yes.
It's not widely accessible even today. But back in 2015, it wasn't the case at all. So I think we saw great customer love. We saw good product market fit. And that point of time, two things were happening. Devangi, our MD, she was in the US sort of for where she was sort of pursuing her education. And what we saw was that there are a lot of NRI audiences and South Asian diaspora audiences who are not able to get this offering from a global setup, right? So they would come to India once in a while in the December, November period of time during festivities, shop once, and then go back to their home country.
Okay.
But we wanted to make that accessible throughout the year. We wanted to make designs that were very customized to that particular geography, like the taste aesthetic of that geography, the weather patterns, the use cases of that. So we had to go online to go global.
Okay.
That's the first thing.
Interesting. Yes.
Yeah, because going B2B or going B2C, like making a store, is a very high cost affair, right? So B2C, and of course we had Meta at that time. We also had sort of various forums to sort of generate digital leads. So it was a much easier way to do that.
Yes.
Along with that, we also had the first wave of digitization. And I was in telecom back then. I saw the 3G to 4G transition firsthand, 2015, 17, 18, Jio coming into play.
Yes.
So much more PIN codes became digitally accessible than was possible to get through stores.
Yes.
And thirdly, I think because of the luxury nature of the business, we need a certain sort of, let's say, population density or customer density in a geographical area to make a viable store business, right?
Absolutely, yes.
So that predominantly still continues to be the top 8, 12, 15 cities.
Okay.
The customer density would go down beyond that. There are relevant customers, but the density wouldn't be as high.
Okay.
So online, again, forms a great way to sort of tap into those customers. Digital allows you to segment based on behavioral patterns, based on sort of geographical cohorting.
Yes.
So all of these put together, I think we forayed into online, and it's now as big a business as the retail. Actually, sometimes one is bigger, sometimes the other is bigger.
Okay.
But both are meaningfully large channels for us.
Yes.
And retail continues to be sort of the backbone.
Okay.
And online sort of fuels the growth, expansion, geographical expansion. I would also say that, online helps you identify newer store locations.
Yes.
Going forward, because when you see high density of customers in certain geographical areas, you have reasonably high conviction that, okay, this could be a possible offline market that I can get into a store.
Yes.
So, each channel sort of, complements the other channel.
Yes.
And helps you reduce your sort of failure rate with decision making.
Yes, absolutely. I think this is a very, very interesting point which you made, Koustubh, that online actually helps you identify where to grow offline stores. And I also see the reverse synergy also happening when I talk to many of the brands. So help me understand. So right now, Aza Fashion stores are across most of the big cities in India. And I also got a sense that retail and online are sort of neck to neck. And retail growth or SSG or new store growth, I know is one of the common problems with a lot of brands also face. How are you thinking about growing the retail business? How and I know for a fact that getting people into the store and making them purchase has been a challenge with a lot of retail brands continue to face. So in terms of your retail marketing strategy, how does that media mix look like between offline and online? I would like to understand more around it.
We look at, or at least we try to look at marketing from a very omnichannel view right now, because what we have seen, and this is, very anecdotal as well, that, even for our own personal purchases, a customer could start their journey of knowing a brand from any particular channel, right?
Yes,
It could be a store interaction. It could be a billboard that you've seen sort of driving down the highway.
Yes.
It could be an Insta ad. So what is the first touch point? No one knows, right? But
Absolutely.
so giving a omnichannel entry point in terms of the first experience of the brand, or which is what we call as the top of the funnel, is very, very important. And then where the sale will eventually materialize is also a function of many, many different things, right? So on the one hand, you have online, which offers you comfort, convenience, also offers you, I think it's a great place to shop for products where you're not sort of trying to get into very much details of let's say a bridal purchase,
Yes.
or it's a festive purchase, which is a very high involvement purchase, and you need to get it right.
Yes.
Or the cost of getting it wrong is quite high. In such purchases, online works beautifully. You don't need to take the trouble. But in certain cases, you need to actually sort of invest the time, and the customer enjoys the process of walking in with the family
Yes.
into the store and sort of having that entire experience. So that's why we try to target both sets of customers, and the same customer can behave differently
Yes.
in different contexts. So we see it as a continuum, and one channel fuels the other in terms of growth.
Yes.
In particular, when we run ads or when we sort of WhatsApp campaigns as well, we keep the omnichannel piece in mind. So we can geographically sort of hyper segment and run, let's say we have for example, event launch or a celebrity influencers sort of visiting the store will be available for the next 2 days, right, to interact. So that is a very, very micro and geographically segmented approach to an offline event, but the marketing of it is entirely kind of, online, right? So that drives store footfall to that particular location. Secondly, I think what we have worked on, and which is probably product plus marketing together, is giving a lot more use cases to the customer to come back to the store. So stores typically have because it has a finite catchment area, so you need to operate with a higher repeat rate, right, as compared to an online customer. So therefore, having use cases for all types of festivities, office wear, party wear, bridal, and when I say bridal, I mean not just the wedding event, but outfits which are in and around bridal as a theme, right? So when we give more use cases, we kind of see customers coming on board. And again, here the omnichannel play comes in place, because if a customer has purchased an office outfit on azafashions.com, he or she is sort of likely to visit a store for something which is much more
wedding oriented.
Yes. So you've earned trust with let's say a lower ticket purchase.
Correct.
Right? And then you have
got foot in the door sort of thing.
Yes, exactly. Then you have earned the right to sort of be a viable candidate for a bridal kind of a selection, which will be multiple outfits, which will be very high AOV as well. And the customer will sort of, for the lack of a better word, will judge you for success or failure of that event at the point, right? It's a critical experience to deliver, right? So many times, sometimes you get a foot in the door with something like this. Similarly, if somebody has had a first purchase in a sort of store setup, they have moved countries, or they've moved, we find a lot of people who have moved countries, but they continue to shop with us because they have had a very good in-store experience. So, if you have had a good experience in any channel, it is likely to rub off into the other channel, and you will start from a point of trust, which of course you need to maintain. If you don't sort of maintain that trust, then obviously it will deteriorate, right? But you have a chance, you have a foot in the door across both channels.
Very interesting. So foot in the door via online and actually making them purchase those big ticket items via offline. And Koustubh, you also spoke about bridal, and I had something to add there. We also work with brands where our common narrative is for the wedding purchase, you actually want to get into the store, because wedding is also happens to be a high investment sort of a purchase, a high commitment purchase. You don't want to go wrong on your wedding day or on friend's wedding day. So we have had brands tell me and owners tell me that, look, Anshuk, when I run wedding ads on Facebook and Instagram, I actually have people walk into my store and show them images of the exact bridal outfit and tell them, I want to buy this, or can I try this out? Do you also see something similar happening at Aza, where you do a lot of investments on online, on platforms like Facebook and Instagram, and you have people walking in with those images or specific products which they want to buy?
Absolutely. I think this particular sort of this happens all the time, right? Because you have customers who are seeing these ads, and they are sort of following the fashion and the lifestyle space very, very closely, right?
Yes.
So whether it is an ad or something which has been a trend, and let's say we have put it out on our Insta, so people have got an idea of that, they would walk into the store and their expectation would be that we will be able to fulfill that sort of request from any channel, right? So I think the customer today does not care if the inventory is housed online or offline.
Yes.
I think omnichannel access to inventory or access to a selection is something that customers expect right now. It's not even a wow factor. It's not a differentiation. I think everyone has to have that access. So I think in line with that, all the inventory that's available with us, or all these sort of styles that are available with us, are available omnichannel. So you can search for all the store products on the app, on the website, and equally you can walk into a store and say that, hey, I'm not finding this, and for all you know, that store may not actually house that product, because store is a finite space, and they may not have that product, but they'll quickly be able to locate that product. It will be either at some other store, right, because it's physical inventory, or it will be at a warehouse. It'll be with us. So we'll be able to locate that, and we'll be able to sort of, if the customer wants to buy it directly, great. If the customer says that, no, I actually want to try this out, right? So then we can give an appointment, and in a couple of days, depending on where the inventory is, we can set up a trial, right? Because if it's, again, as you mentioned, bridal, high ticket purchase, it's a family decision as well, because what's going well, etc. You typically want to do that. And people enjoy the process of shopping. So again, another myth that we have sometimes that, like we have to complete the transaction in 10 minutes, 15 minutes. No, for these type of shopping, people actually want to spend a couple of hours to try out options, really get family members on board. So, and these loops don't even close in, one day. Right? So it can follow up, and it's perfectly okay to say
long decision cycle.
Yes. So we can say that, okay, we'll get the outfit for you, and then trials happen, then some customizations are required, they happen, right? And then the final outfit is sort of delivered. And all this while the customer is, I mean, for the customer, it's rather sort of, customer is indifferent to the fact that where actually the inventory resided or which channel it was. So it doesn't matter. So you get access to both worlds, right? And therefore, a lot of store traffic kind of gets driven. In general, what we have seen is that for stores, anything which is bridal in nature or which is at the store, right? So outfits being trial of outfits at store, for example, is a great is a theme of posting on Insta or ads, which tend to do very well. Because people relate to it, and sort of many people come to the store and sort of want to do the same trial.
And do you also do some store content to promote the bridal and the wedding collection?
Yes, absolutely. So our Insta page does a lot of sort of, you can check us out on Insta.
Of course.
You will see we do a lot of store, in-store outfit trials, right? Not just for bridal, but otherwise, because the store by definition is a very sort of, I would say, immersive, luxurious setting. So you don't need to sort of put in too much other items, and the outfit comes to life in that setup. And customers are able to very easily visualize themselves trying out those outfits in those settings. So in each of the big cities, we have a store. So if customers sort of feel enough engaged with the product and they really like it, they do walk into the store and say that, hey, I saw this on Insta. Can I actually try this out? Or I had seen an ad of this product. Here's a screenshot. Can I try this out?
Very interesting. And that brings me to one of my last questions, Koustubh. So what role has Meta played in the entire journey of Omnichannel for Aza? And I know Aza has been really, you spoke about Instagram so many times in our conversation. So tell us a little bit about, from an Omnichannel perspective, how's Meta been playing a role?
So I think the first point that I want to highlight upon is that I think online, and in particular Meta, helps us sort of geographically sharpshoot and segment. So even when we sort of, let's say, do our store launches, or we're trying to pick places where to sort of launch or do a campaign, we can go very, hyper local in terms of saying that here is a catchment area, let's say Bandra or Juhu, and I want to run ads only in this geographical area to drive footfall to a particular store. So that's something which, Meta allows us to do.
Yes.
Be very, very focused and segmented in approach. And this segmented approach sort of helps us even in our world businesses or international businesses.
Global, yes.
Yeah, because where we have different countries and they have different tastes, sensibilities, ads. So we are able to customize an offering which is very, very segmented.
Okay.
So broad theme, I would say, is very hyperlocal and segmented.
Yes.
Secondly, I think wherever, as I talked about earlier, right, you don't know where the first interaction with the brand happened.
Yes.
And where the purchase will happen.
Correct, absolutely.
So in that it becomes very important that we are able to pass on signals to Meta in terms of where the purchase actually, like the successful purchase, right? So the Meta algorithm then learns better that, okay, I mean, I had shown ads to this set of people, and it actually culminated into sale. So so feeding the system with sales data and sort of allowing it to sort of get richer signals in terms of where customers could convert helps us get a better sort of ROI and target sharper, right? So that's, I would say, the second part of it. Third, I think we use a bank of creatives, right, which is both online and offline.
You spoke about store creatives as well.
Yes. So we make sure that those creatives are utilized across channels. And now I think freshness of content is very, very highly valued, right? So we keep on refreshing content, and we make sure that highly relevant and engaged contents from our social media, social media understanding, right? So when we look at social media, we try to understand trends, and we try to sort of put those type of contents which are trending and which are sort of informative, which are adding some value to the customer and not just a direct sort of push for a product. So I think those those type of campaigns also have done very well for us at Meta. Yeah,
I'm actually glad that you spoke about signals as one of the levers. In fact, what we've also seen, Koustubh, is now when we send the store signals back to Meta, Meta now has access to richer data, which is your website signals and your store signals. And we've seen in many cases by sending store signals, even the web ROS starts to go up. In fact, for several brands, we have seen around 12 to 15% increment in the web ROS by sending those right store signals back to Meta.
I would love to sort of learn more on this in terms of quantification.
Okay.
But directionally, what we do see is that whenever there has been sort of a big campaign that's been taken up for one channel, it invariably has had a rub-on effect on the other channel, right? So whether you have gone very hard in terms of one particular city, let's say when you're launching new stores, you would see a rub-on effect of that on online. And equally, the other direction, if you have gone very, very strongly in terms of budgets and you have sort of gone very, you have shown a lot of ads for bridal, etc. on an online forum, it will result in more footfalls and walk-ins. However, quantifying, so what part of it came from where, is something that is an ongoing piece for us, right? To understand what signal came from where. Correlation is very, very clear. The actual math behind it is something that
Which is what now OCAPI can help us.
That's something that we are looking forward to, because definitely we see a lot of value in that.
This has been a very, very engaging discussion, Koustubh. And I want to tell my viewers that just like Aza Fashion carefully curates all the luxury brands under one roof, getting your omnichannel strategy right is also about the right curation. You need to get your signals right, which is offline conversion API. You need to ensure you're running the right set of campaigns in the vicinity of the store. You can get your right creatives, which are more store creatives and not necessarily product creatives. And you need to get your measurement right. If you get the right curation, you will have your right collection of your omnichannel success. Thank you so much, Koustubh, for joining me today for the OmniTalks. For our viewers, stay tuned. We will have leaders from some of the top retail brands join us and talk about how they are rethinking the media mix of online and offline when driving store footfall and store sales. Stay tuned for more updates. Thank you.